Guys, good morning. What is happening? We're on Friday. We're on Friday morning. 3 days of a little bit higher food as documented yesterday. So yesterday was the full day of eating, and today I've managed to wake up. Scale weight is down. Another big chunk. We are down to 101.2 this morning. Hopefully that is in focus. It doesn't look to be, but you get the drift. If you have a little look for the last 3 days, if you can see that, guys, the last 3 days you can actually see that my scale weight has actually just come down. Over the last 3 days, the plan has been as little activity as physically possible. I've managed to accumulate on that 3-day period no more than 7,000 steps each day. So a total of 21,000 steps across all 3 days. And that was me actively trying to not move, proper trying, super hard to not move. That's why I really struggle to understand when people get less than that. It just doesn't make much sense to me. However, that being said, I have rested, I have eaten a little bit more grub, and I have watched what I've been doing. And I feel a lot better for it today. I feel a lot fresher. The detail is back through the legs. Well, it's not 100% there yet, but it's coming. And I'm looking a lot sharper through the glutes, a lot sharper through the back, through the mid. I just look fuller. My physique looks a lot more alive. So what I'm going to do, quickly, we are going to be recording a push session today, so I will keep the majority of the footage for that. But I would like to just quickly show you a bit of the process. These are the pictures here from my last check-in, well, 3 days ago check-in, so Monday check-in, before we done rest on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. As you can see, not very much detail going on through the quads, not very much detail going in through the back. My physique just looks a bit tired, it looks a bit worn out. Even I was feeling tired, I felt like I'd been hit by a bus. Everything was aching, everything was sore. Even muscles that I hadn't trained in 4 or 5 days were still a little bit sore. And I was just carrying a layer of film, a layer of water. It was getting me down. So we had a little bit of a rest, had the high days. I dropped from, body weight wise, I dropped from 102.4 to 102.2 the first day, down to 102 the second day, and then down to 101.2 today. So I'm down 1.2 kilos across the 3 days of higher food. And these are the new pictures. I don't know where they're going to go here. And as you can see, the difference is fucking unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I feel much better. I look much better. I'm tighter. I'm back down to prep low, which means that from here, we've got another 6 kilos to take off. 6.2 kilos to take off from here. And I don't really see that being much of an issue. We do still have 7 weeks, so we are on point, we are on track. I am feeling good, and I'm ready to get fucking after it, guys. Hopefully now you can see the difference of actually putting some rest in when you need some rest. But you actually have to need it. That's the difference, guys, alright? You need to know the difference. Sometimes planting the hammer a bit more, or planting the foot a bit more, when things start to downregulate or slow down, isn't always the answer. Sometimes pulling back a little bit to help you move forward is going to be more beneficial. This is the reason why I sometimes believe that you've got to, you don't have to pay a coach, but it's why paying a coach can pay dividends. Because you can't, I would say I'm experienced enough to recognise these signs. I would fucking hope so anyway. And I can always recognise these signs with my own clients, well before they become an issue. With myself though, it's a bit more difficult. And sometimes it's not until I'm in the actual hole that I realise. So that's why it's good to have my coach there. Kuba, he always knows when to pull me back. I would have argued with him. On Friday that I was still fine to go to the gym. But, that's it. When you've got an emotional attachment to the process and the journey, it's not always easy to make radical decisions, and sometimes your decisions can be questionable. Hence why I will always have a coach. Anyway, big push session coming up, guys. Hope you're ready to grow some big titties and do some learning. Let's go. Just writing out my logbook for today's session, and due to the fact that we're getting a bit leaner, getting a bit closer to the show date, and due to the fact also that my last deload before this one was only 3 weeks ago. So I had a deload on return from Rotherham after we went down there to visit Cuba. I had 3 weeks since then, and I needed another deload. So that does give us a sign that either I'm training like an absolute dickhead or the volume is just too high, simply. I had a little chat with Cuba yesterday. We've established that it's a bit of both. There is quite a lot of volume here, but I'm also training like a bit of a dickhead. The goal for today's session is now to reduce the volume slightly, so we've opted to remove a set of Y rays. So the session used to have 3 sets of Y rays, 3 sets of cable fly, 2 sets press, 2 sets press, 2 sets narrow grip press, and then 3 sets single arm push down, 3 sets overhead, and then 2 sets behind the back lateral raise. Now we've removed 1 set of cable rays, Y rays, sorry. one set of cable flies, we've removed one set of narrow press, and we've removed one set of push downs as well. We've dropped quite a bit of volume, and I'm under strict instruction to take no sets past failure. Now, I didn't think I was taking my sets past failure, although looking back at the videos, I can see that I potentially was. Now, it's very, very difficult to gauge where you're going to fail without actually failing. So I always try and take that last rep, even if I'm a bit sketchy and I think, I don't know if I'm going to get this one, I'll still try. And if I fail, then at least I've hit mechanical failure. But that seems to be taking me over my recovery capabilities, which is not good at this point in prep. We're going to have to stop taking that extra one. So from now on, when I think, don't know if I'm going to get the next one, I am going to stop. It's going to be hard, but I am going to stop. And what we should see is I should be able to get another 5, 6, 7 weeks. Might even get to the show without another deload. Doubt it, but we'll see. Just going to finish writing the book. We'll catch up in the car. And then it's push time. Let's get it, guys. Now, I know that I did say that we will catch up in the car, so here we are, catching up in the car. I don't have an awful great deal to say at this point in time, and I am literally pulling up to the gym right now. We'll crack on when we get in there. I have a little trade secret to show you though. It's part of my warm-up routine. I get a lot of bother with my elbows. Stay tuned and you'll see the little secret weapon that I have, and what I do, why I do it. And then you can try it. We are almost ready. Gum shield, check. That goes in the pocket for now. Headphones, if you like in-ear headphones, not affiliated with the company by any means, by the way, but these are called Between 3 ANC. You'll have seen them on Instagram. I fell for them, went and bought them, and they are actually great, amazing. Really, really good. Really good. Best in-ear headphones I've ever actually had, and they stay in extremely well. Definitely a worthwhile investment if you're in the market for a pair of in-ear earbuds, for sure. Now, the trick of the trade secret for push and pull days, if like me, you have bother from elbows, forearms, anything from kind of that neck of the woods. Push! Deep heat. Now, yeah, we all know what deep heat is, we've all probably used it before. However, this here, going on my elbows just now, 5-10 minutes before I start training, actually has a lot of warming effects through the tissue and straight into the joint. It means that when I do eventually go to warm up and start training, I don't actually have to warm up quite as much as what I had to do before I started using the deep heat on the elbow. I found that for me to actually train my biceps without any pain at all, I was having to do like 6 or 7 warm-up sets and feeder sets just to get the actual tissue in the surrounding areas warm enough to train it pain-free, and we all know how much time that takes. Ain't nobody got time for that. Mikey, my training partner, told me that he's been watching podcasts. That's what he does. Loves a podcast. Loves watching Fuad. Fuad actually does this, and he puts deep heat on before he leaves the house. What a difference. I put this on, I wash my hands, I get my hoodie on, I get my music on, I get out there, and I'm actually ready to go. I only need to do a couple of feeders. Definitely a worthwhile investment, some deep heat, if you're getting little niggles in certain places. So yeah, that's me ready to rock. Gonna go wash my hands and then let's get into push. Warming up isn't something that I like to do an awful lot of. I think once you're warm, and wasting energy and time doing extended warm-ups is just a waste of time in my opinion. I like to just get cracking. Now, I see a lot of people doing these, and if your hips are swinging back and forward and you're doing it like this, you're probably not working your abs very much. Take a bit of a wider stance, come a wee bit further from the machine. And then as you come down, crunch on the abs, exhale. And then allow your body to stretch up without your hips actually moving. Get an actual extension on your abs. It's a bit light. Obviously your hips will move, there's no way to get away from that, but the stiller that you can keep your hips, the more ab activation you'll have simply. So that's that, core activated. Couple of sets, in fact one set, we've got one single set now on biceps. I know that biceps are a pull exercise, but I need more fucking biceps. We've got them almost every day. every 2 or 3 days there's some biceps in there, and they are improving. One thing I do want you to be mindful of though, guys, is if like me, you are putting extra bits and bobs in your plan, a wee bit extra biceps, a wee bit extra triceps, bringing up your lagging body parts essentially, and adding them in on days where they're not really supposed to be there. That's all fine and well, as long as you can recover from it. Sometimes when you add something in, you might need to take something out. Just remember that as well. Adding extra volume, sometimes you need to take some volume out, okay? Now, I've already done my 2 feeder sets. I'm warm, I'm ready to go. My elbows feel absolutely class from the deep heat. Another thing you might want to remember as well is if you are putting an exercise into your setup to bring up a lagging body part on a separate day where it's not really supposed to be there, stick it in first as well, so that you're fresh and you can attack it with maximum intensity. On a normal day, I probably would have went for another rep there, maybe even another 2, but today, not today. We're saving it, 7 weeks to go, so plan is not to fuck myself up in these next 7 weeks. So that's biceps done. Now guys, I've heard a million times, can't do wide raises in my gym. We don't have the facilities to do wide raises. If you've got a cable stack, you can do wide raises. Doesn't have to be a close one. Close ones are better. Doesn't have to adjustable ones are better. Doesn't even have to be with a cuff. Cuffs are better. But you can still do them without all of these things. If your cable stack's too wide and you can't actually get a proper line and force for the delts, add some daisy chains. You don't know what daisy chains are, stick them in Amazon and you'll see. Okay, so top set, tunes on, let's go. Pretty wildly insane compared to any shoulder exercise that I've ever done before. If you want some bolder shoulders, then don't copy me because I don't have them yet, but we're on our way guys. The work is a work in progress, and we've actually matched last week's numbers after 2 days of rest and at an all-time prep low, so that I'm happy with. Now we're moving on to cable fly, cable pec fly. Now usually, well majority of the time anyway, this would be done with handles, handles. Me personally, as I said, I get a little bit of jip with my elbows and my forearm, and sometimes taking a wider grip on the handles can actually send little shooting pains down my forearm. Doesn't happen all the time, but I also feel like I can get a much better contraction using the cuffs on my forearms. So I just leave the cuffs on from the Y raise and I get my arms through them. Now obviously the pec's main function, if you've ever watched my Instagram reels, is to duck the arm across the body basically. Your pec's function, literally, is to pull the arm from here to here. Now look at where my hands are, when my pecs are fully short. They don't touch, and I certainly don't do this, because then you're leaving progress on the table, guys. This is actually my top set. I've already done all the warming up. Nah, I usually took another one at least there, and then probably tried to get another one on the back of that. But after putting myself in a hole 3 weeks after a deload, I do plan to be a tiny bit more careful in the gym. That's where we're leaving that one. Now, when you are doing a fly, you want to basically be flying in line with your pecs. You don't want to be flying away up here, because you're just putting unnecessary strain on your shoulders. So keep your elbows in line with your pecs, keep them up nice and in line with your fists, and literally from there, it's just open up nice and wide, and then close your arms like you're trying to touch your biceps together. Your fists should never really be able to come together. If you can clap your hands, did it fucking wrong, guys. We're now moving into an incline Smith press. When you're setting up for an incline Smith press, guys, you want the bench in such a position that when you pull your arms down, essentially, because it's an incline, we're trying to target bias more the upper portion of the pec. You want the bar coming down on the upper portion of the pec. You also want to ensure that your grip is in such a position that when you come down, your elbows diverge in line with your pec fibers, and then at the bottom, when you're in a fully stretched position, you want your wrists to be stacked directly above your elbows, basically. If you come down and your wrists are wider than your elbows or more narrow than your elbows,
You're just putting tension places that doesn't need to be. So I have scaled back a little bit on the loading on this movement from last session, and I've removed my elbow sleeves. Elbow sleeves give you a little bit extra support. Mine's a single ply, so it's not a great deal, but it's still some. I would like to see exactly where I stand with this sleeveless. So we've pulled 5 kilos, 10 kilos off, 10 kilos actually. No, 20 kilos, because I've taken 10 kilos off each side. Got to focus on getting the range of motion on these absolutely perfect. Pausing in both end ranges. My rep range is 10 to 12, so let's fucking go. Now, I get a lot of stick from Cuba for my suicide grip here, but I just can't get my thumb round the bar. It's just so uncomfy for me. I'm going to stick with my suicide grip, don't try this at home. Now, you want your feet in a good solid position here, guys. Any pressing movement, a lot of your pressing power, believe it or not, actually comes from your quads. If you're one of these people who does this throughout the set, don't. Fucking hell, that one was a bit touch and go. But we got it at 10. So if I'd taken a single pound more for that set, probably would have missed. Scaling back is definitely the right choice there, for sure. A little bit scale back on the top set is going to have to mean, you guessed it, but we're going to have to scale back on the back of set as well. So that's a question that I get asked quite frequently from clients and other followers as well on my Instagram, Facebook. When I'm doing 2 sets, top set, back of set, should I scale my loading back on the back of set? Now, for gym goers, avid gym goers, that's going to be common sense, but to somebody who's never trained with that kind of format before, a top set, a back of set, etc., then yeah, you will have to scale back on the back of set. Because generally speaking, your back of set is going to be a higher rep rate set. It's going to be physically impossible for you to probably match those reps that you just done on your top set, never mind beat them. So scaling back on your back of set is definitely going to be something that you want to do. How much should I scale back? Well, that's why you have a logbook, right? I will know exactly how much to scale back because I've written it in here. If you don't know how much to scale back because you haven't written it in here yet, then 20 to 25% is a good rule of thumb and a good start point for you scaling back. So for example here, this bar only weighs like 11 kilos. So 11 plus 80, it's like 91 kilos. I'm not strong anywhere, especially not on my chest, but we'll go for 91 and I got 10. So I'm probably going to scale that back. I'll probably take 20s off and put 10s on, which will give me 60, 71. So I'm taking 20 kilos off that. And that for me will be magical, I believe. Now my rep range for my back off set is 12 to 15. If I get less than 12, I know next week I have to scale back more. If I get more than 15, I know next week I'll probably take a little bit more weight for a spin. That's how logbooks work, guys. And if you use them to your advantage, they're a good tool to use. But if you just constantly come in here, try to beat and chase and beat, recipe for disaster. Currently waiting on a machine. I just thought I would quickly touch on this subject. I actually have been asked to do this by a client. He asked me to touch on a subject that probably a lot of people can relate to. And it's when you're in a gym and the gym's busy and you can't get on the machine that you need. What do? Do you move to the next exercise or do you find an alternative machine? Me personally, I'm going to sit on the machine that I need before somebody else takes it. Me personally, what I would do is just walk over to the machine that you're needing to use. The person that's on it, grip them as hard as you can by the, I'm looking, I didn't bother doing that. You could always go and ask, excuse me mate, how many fucking sets you got left? Standard question. Some people will say, I've just got one more mate, just got 2 more. In that instance I would wait because it would fry my head moving to another machine and not being able to log it here. A couple of sets, 1 set, 2 sets max. I'll wait. 3 sets, 4 sets. There's some people you ask, all right mate, how many sets you got left? And they say, oh, I'm going to be another 30 minutes here. And it's like, you just do your whole fucking workout on that one machine, like. Anyway, I'm not going to start a rant here, but in that instance, I would then either move to a like for like machine, or I would just move to the next exercise. But common sense must prevail here, guys. you wouldn't jump onto a tricep press before you've finished your chest, because you're going to fatigue your arms before you're finished working your pecs. And you need your arms to hit your pecs. Got to be a bit common sense. You wouldn't go and fly into tricep dips before you finish your bench pressing. Do you know what I mean? You would just find an alternative bench press machine. Anyway, now that we've touched on that, we can move into this machine. So again, making use of a convergent press after you've done a Smith press can challenge the muscle in a slightly more shortened position, because convergent means that it comes in, diverge means it goes out, converge means it comes in. Smith machine, you can't converge because it's fixed position. So when you press up, you're there, right? So you're not getting a full shorten on the muscle. On this machine, it comes out and then it comes in, it converges. So you can actually shorten the muscle a lot more. You can challenge the muscle a bit more in a shortened position and get a bit more out of that shortened range and squeeze. So that's what we're going to do here. Again, like I said, I've just finished cable flies and then I've just finished a Smith press. So I'm not going to have to do a fuck ton of warming up here. 1, maybe 2 maximum feeder sets, and that's me ready to go. I feel good. I feel really good actually. I'm getting an insane pump this session, and that is because I am fresh. Looking back at the last time I done this session, we managed, that's the wrong session. What's going on? The last time I done this, I done 72 and I got 12, and we're in 72 there, and the rep range is 10 to 12. I'm going to take that for a spin again, just back after periods of rest. Be absolutely no point in trying to take any more for a spin. So what I will do is I'll try and hit the 12 again, or 13, and as long as I can, then next week we'll take a slight increase on loading. So we got the 13 that time. 13 was the max that I would have got there. I would have usually tried again for another one, and then said, yeah, I definitely failed, because in my head I didn't fail there, I completed all the reps. But mindset switch. I know fine well that if I went for another rep there, it would have driven me a lot more fatigue than hypertrophy. It would have fucked me up more than it would have helped, basically, in short. So we didn't take it. Next, what we got next? We are on to a narrow grip press for tricep. So let's go and crack on with that. What a silly Billy I am. That last set. Apologies for the lack of sound, but I forgot to turn my microphone off. These little DJI gadgets are really, really good. Really good, actually. But there is pros and cons with everything in life, I suppose, isn't there? And the cons of this is that my microphone died on me one day, and I didn't want that to happen today, so I've been flicking it off in between sets. And then, obviously, my head's like a sieve, trying to record everything, trying to make sure my session's still productive. So, hopefully you did hear what I said in that last exercise. If you didn't, then we'll catch it again next time. I managed to progress that movement anyway, so it's cool. On a push down, this portion of the arm should not move. Shouldn't move. If I see anybody doing this, it's not pull day, guys. You're not trying to hit your lats. Triceps, isolation work here. This portion of your arm should not move. Get it in a good, solid and strong position by your torso. Allow your forearm to come up until it cannot come up anymore. Once it can't come up anymore, without the upper arm moving, you're fully stretched. And then it's just down and into the body. We don't want to push down and out, because then look at your shoulders. Your shoulders will come forward. Ideally, you want your shoulders to stay where they are. So down and in. All right, guys? Scaling back a ball here on this one as well, just to make sure I actually land in the rep range and don't need to take a deload from tomorrow. Yeah, feels good now. We now move into behind the head tricep extension. For this, a lot of people like to use a rope. Me personally, I don't. I don't think the ropes are long enough. And what I tend to find is you actually put a lot of stress on your shoulders as you try and open the rope up, because it's not as long as it should be. So I like to use a Vulcan strap. Oh, but my gym doesn't have a Vulcan strap. Neither does mine. Bought mine on Amazon. They're like £13 or something. So Get one in your gym bag and you'll never ever be stuck again. I do like the Vulcan strap for many exercises. I like it for straight arm pull downs, for pull. I like it for tricep push downs instead of a rope. I like it for behind the head work. It's actually really ambidextrous. It's got two separate different grips here, so you can grip it at different heights. And it's like a seatbelt as well, so it's nice and strong, nice and comfortable. It's got padding in there as well, so you can always drive from the meaty outside portion of your hand, rather than having to focus on gripping a ball. Nobody likes gripping balls. Some folk probably do. I don't so much like gripping balls. It's not up there with my lift things I enjoy doing. When we're doing a behind the head extension, you always want to make sure that your upper arms are still pointing up to the sky the whole time. Hinge only at the elbow, and then up nice and strong and lock out hard. Oh, fuck. On a behind the head extension, realistically, we're trying to hit the lengthened portion of the tricep here, the inner portion, as opposed to a push down where we're still hitting the inner portion, but a lot of the focus is going onto the outer head. I suppose knowing where to place each exercise can be beneficial, but if you're brand spanking new to the gym and you don't have a coach, and you're not really sure, just making sure that you're doing the exercises right. You can pretty much place them wherever you want, really. Once you start chasing down the 1%, that's when you can look at exercise placement, short in position, length in position, etc, etc. Until then, just make sure you're hitting a variety of different exercises for every single muscle group, but make sure you're doing the right guys, and you'll grow and make progress. We are going to be finishing up on the last exercise, which is a behind the body cable lateral raise. Now, the reason why we do behind the body lateral raise is because it's on my plan. Have a look at it. The reason why we do behind the body, one, it reduces front delt activation and it actually increases rear delt activation because the actual loading is coming from behind the body rather than from in front. You get a little bit more stimulation in the rear delt, a little bit less in the front. That's key point number one. Key point number two is you get a greater demand on shoulder mobility, so it means it's going to help you actually move your shoulder through a bigger range and actually increase your shoulder range of motion. Number three, there's a different resistance profile as you move through the motion because we're not just coming from the front like we always are, we're coming from behind, so it hits it slightly different as well, which can actually channel a different response from inside the muscle tissue because you're hitting it from slightly different angles. That's not actually a myth, that's actually a real thing and it can actually happen. How much is arguable? But again, 1%, we're chasing them. And then we will move on to a little bit of post-push posing, and then we'll wrap it up. Now, I like to do these with a D handle rather than a cuff, purely just because I feel like I can actually get a better range of motion that way. I like to bring the cable up to about knee height and work from there rather than from floor height. I just feel like it connects better. You don't have to. This isn't a rule that you have to do, but I just generally feel that it hits slightly better. That's probably a bit high actually, that's like ball height. And we don't like grabbing balls in here, do we? Oh, fuck. Undershot that one. So the rep range for that is 12 to 15, 10 to 15, and I got 20. So I'll just mark that down in my book. And next week, I'll take a bit more loading for a spin. But yeah, that's the push workout. That's it done and dusted. I've got one more set on this arm, two more sets on the other arm, and then we're going to go and explore the Gym 64 glenrothes posing room and see what 102.2 looks like with a bit of blood in the push muscles. So we're here in the posing room, Gym 64 glenrothes, where it's been newly painted in black and it looks pretty good. Let's crack on with a round of posing, and then it's time to munch. Posing on a normal day is pretty hard work. Posing after a session when you've got 2 litres of intra in your gut, it's even harder. Especially when you've got vacuums and shit to hit. But we got it done. I'm happy with the look today. Happy with the session today. So now, it's game time and we are back on the move. And that is a big, juicy, pushy wrap. Hopefully you guys have all enjoyed the session and hopefully you all enjoyed my little tips, cues, tricks, pointers, form evaluations, value, whatever. Hopefully there was a lot of value in there for you. I really enjoyed the session. I really enjoyed filming it actually. It was quite fun. I got a fantastic session. I'm happy with the look. I'm happy with everything really. So we're back to moving. I'm also happy with my post-workout meal. It's one of my favourite meals. I'll show you what's in here. Don't be fooled by the sauce. It's low sugar ketchup, next to nothing in it, and then there's a little bit of Flavour Gang smoking poppy on here, which again has got absolutely nothing in it. So it does look like there's a lot of sauce there, but it's just spread because it's hot and it's very, very low calorie. We've got 200 grams of chicken, 125 grams jasmine rice, 100 grams of berries, and that's it. That's it. This one is going to go down the hatch beautifully right now. It's still roasting, toasting because it's been in my keepy hottie bags. That's us wrapping up, signing out, signing off. Tune in again, guys. Again, like I say, anything you want to see, please let me know in the comments. And if I can do anything better, let me know. Peace out, guys.